Nerdinas, my name is Aruna and today I am back with another video. We are going to be discussing the inner workings of a computer. Every day we use our computer to perform a multitude of tasks. We save all kinds of documents, such as the Word document seen here. We type into our keyboard, and we use arrays, which is what we will be discussing today. Arrays are essentially a table. They're a way for a computer to store data in rows and columns. So we're going to be using a practical example and then thinking about all of the components used in a computer to process our data. So what we're going to be doing today is imagining a program that we've written to identify all the prime numbers from 1 to 100. We will then store all of these prime numbers in increasing order in an array. So here we will put 2 inside of the first element of the array, 3 in the second, so on and so forth, all the way up to 97. So how exactly will the computer know whether a number is prime or not? For this, we have to develop an algorithm. This means that there has to be a process by which the computer can check every number and see whether it is prime. So let's take an example. How about 20? So if we had the number 20, the computer would check if it is divisible by every number from 1 to 20, with the exception, of course, of 1 and 20. So when the computer sees that 20 is divisible by 2, 4, 5, and 10, it will realize that 20 is not prime and will therefore not stored in the array. So given this problem, how do we get the computer to solve it? The instructions we write in our program to the computer are written in a programming language, which is translated into ones and zeros, called machine code, to the compiler. Machine code is the only language that the CPU understands. The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is the main brain of the computer. It interprets all of the machine code sent to it by the compiler. The CPU is the main processor and performs all calculations. The CPU can be seen right here, behind this fan. A CPU speed is typically measured in megahertz or gigahertz, and a CPU speed is determined by the instructions per second that it can process. In our example, the CPU is used to perform all calculations, including dividing each number by all possible factors. The fan, seen here, protects the components of the computer from overheating. Similar to our brains, when we do a lot of hard work, the CPU needs to be cooled down. Next, we come to the motherboard. The motherboard is this whole green board, seen right here. The motherboard is the main area of the computer that houses every component of the computer. Calculations. The motherboard, either indirectly or directly, connects to every single component of the computer. It is the central item on the computer. Next, we come to storage. Storage is one of the most important parts of our computer. Today, we will be discussing 3 main types of storage. First, we have ROM, which is read-only memory. The read-only memory is what we use when we first power on our computer and the operating system hasn't begun to function yet. Our main topic of discussion, however, will be the random access memory. In our array, all temporary calculations that the processor performs will be stored in random access memory.
Let's just say our program is trying to determine whether 17 is prime. First, 17 will be divided by 2. Since 17 is obviously not divisible by 2, the remainder will be stored in RAM. Next, 17 will be divided by 3, and that remainder will also be stored in RAM. When the computer divides by every other number less than 17, storing each remainder in the RAM, it will finally discover that 17 is prime. 17 will then be stored as part of our array. The array itself will also be stored in RAM.
The Random access memory can be seen here. As we can see, it has many individual little chips that store different amounts of data. I have simply pulled it out of my computer from this slot. RAM is measured in megabytes or gigabytes, and the RAM allows your computer to function more efficiently by performing many parallel processes. All RAM will be erased once the computer has been turned off. Next, we come to the hard drive. The hard drive is another type of storage. The hard drive is used to store all permanent information. In the case of our program, we can store the code that we write in the hard drive so we can continuously run it and obtain our wanted results. Similarly, Word documents, Excel documents, and PowerPoint documents are stored in the hard drive. When you open your C drive and see the storage, you are also using your hard drive. Nowadays, cloud storage allows us to store our data on hard drives that reside on the web. The power supply, which can be seen here, and also is here,
It gives our components the needed power to run and function.
Now that we have covered the main parts used for our example, which include the hard drive, random access memory, motherboard, and CPU, we will be talking about a few other components in our computer. Most computers, such as this one, come with inbuilt sound cards. These sound cards allow you to hear sound and speak into a microphone so others can hear you. Here we have the microphone and headphone ports. And coming over directly from there, we see small letters that read Odd 101, and this is the area where all sound is processed. Next, we come to the video and graphics card. The video card is responsible for all of the visuals that we see on a computer, including video, which is what you're watching to watch this YouTube video now. Most computers have a graphics processing unit built into the motherboard, but video game enthusiasts can buy separate cards to upgrade their video. The video cards can be found right here. The network card allows your computer to connect to a network. There are two main types of networks: LAN, which is all the devices in your home, and WAN, or the Wide Area Network, which is the internet. Wireless networking allows networking without cumbersome wires. And this right here is the main networking card. So that's about it for today, guys. I hope that from now on, when you use your computer to perform different functions, you'll also think about what's happening inside of the computer. From each Nerdina to all Nerdinas. Adios.